This mess behind me is a giant pile of smart pots. And smart pots are expensive because they are a high quality fabric that when you put the soil in them and then you plant in them, it allows the roots of your plants to get more air. And to have this many pots is quite an investment. But we got these pots with the property when we got here, and our garden is all smart pots. The thing about weed farmers is they spend a lot of money on soil and a lot of money on like nutrients because they are a really thirsty plant, and they're a plant that takes a lot of nutrients to grow because they grow really big really fast every year. And so when this was a weed farm, this person who used to own this place invested a ton of money into really high quality soil, really awesome smart pots, and a ton of nutrients, like for liquid feed and stuff like that. So that was kind of a big bonus for us to inherit. The thing is, I don't need to have the spacing that this person had to grow really big plants because vegetables can't grow as big as giant marijuana trees. And so I can double the amount of pots that were in place here. And the other thing is, I don't need to have the entire smart pot filled with soil that is expensive. So I can double my growing space with the same amount of soil by using what's already around. And I'm going to show you what that is. We're going to fill some smart pots. We're going to replace some old smart pots here in the garden. And we're going to use what is all around us already to make these pots a really great growing medium that still gives the roots exactly what they need while being more resourceful and also using up things that need to be used up on the property anyway. The most obvious and economical way to get rid of the debris that is littering our property and is a huge fire hazard is by burn piles. And we definitely do our fair share of burn piles. But the carbon emissions aren't my favorite, and we also have a better way to use some of the smaller debris that's not big logs. And so you'll see over here something like this pile. This is all small leaves. Leaves release a ton of smoke when you burn them, and this also breaks down really fast into this humusy, delicious, wonderful fungal network of nutrients that roots really love to grow in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this partially broken down pile of some leaves, some sticks, small sticks, a fair amount of soil base in there. There's some like clay soil base in there. And this material is going to be the bottom half of the smart pots. So I'm blending, when I'm building my smart pots, I'm blending hugelkultur, where you build a mound out of logs and then you put layers on top of that, with like lasagna gardening, where you put cardboard, compost, usually like maybe like a woody layer, a bunch of straw, and then soil on top. And I have a bunch of this like strawish stuff. It's seedy. It's already growing grass, but the thing is, this is going to get a bunch of soil put on top of it, so the seeds in here won't have the light that they need to really turn into like true weeds as far down as they're gonna be. When I'm doing this, I'm filling it way more than I would normally like think to fill it, because when I start putting soil on top of the straw, everything is gonna get sunken down, it's gonna compress, and then over time as it breaks down it's gonna shrink as well, and so there's gonna be continual layers added on top, which is good because each year I want to add life into the soil by adding compost or manure or whatever I can get my hands on that year. So I was just doing math, and I think just on this half of the area that is ready to have pots put on it, there's 28 150-gallon smart pots, which is like 3 times the size of my garden in Somerset. And so I'm really grateful that I can build out these pots with having debris and material in the bottom, so that I don't have to have soil be the entire thing, because that would be so much soil. God, spider! A gigantic spider. Oh, look at that guy. They like to get me. Anyway, that's how I build smart pot soils. I hope that was helpful. And of course I want to spend all of my time and all of my days filling these garden pots and getting everything ready to plant, but I have to balance it out with all the other things to do. So 2 pots a day is my limit right now, so that I rein myself in and focus on other things. It gives me some exercise in the morning, and then I can go do all the other things that keep our lives going. So 2 pots are done today, and that means if 28 pots is the goal, then that will be 14 days for everything to get done, which is like, whatever, drop in the bucket. We can do it. One of the things that I love about living here is the amount of natural movement that I get, because I have to walk up and down this driveway like 4 times a day. And I'm in the fresh air, and I'm surrounding myself with trees, and I just have to go pick up literally one thing right now, and it's a 10-minute walk. But I get my natural movement in. So I'm going to say something a little weird right now, but my garden is going to suck next year. Like, it's not going to want to grow a lot of food, and things are probably going to be stunted, and like, it'll grow, but it's not going to be a flourishing space. And I know that doing this now means that I'm gonna have to wait like 2 to 3 seasons for this soil to really like shine. But when the life really does start permeating the layers of this, it will be the best garden ever. And the reason that I'm doing it now in November is because, at least with this framework, I'm gonna have time for this to break down in the winter, which is when a lot of the moisture is really getting involved in the situation, and allowing the microbes to thrive, because they need more water than is available in the summertime normally here. So I'm going to have a better summer than I would if I tried to do this in spring. And then in addition to that, I wouldn't even have had time in spring trying to find a space, to create a space to start seeds and all that stuff. If you're trying to build your garden, if you're trying to like build this process out at an affordable rate, like, do it with the long game in mind, and understand that, like, yeah, this isn't gonna put you into a space where you don't have a grocery bill next year. This is gonna put you into a space where you don't have a grocery bill in 3 years, which in the long run is like 0 time. If you could have no grocery bill or a minimal grocery bill going forward, you know, cool. That's like I'm young, so if I could not have a grocery bill for the rest of my life, or a minimal grocery bill for the rest of my life, and say that I assume that I live to like 85, which is like a considerable standard at this point, like that's a lot of wonderful investment for a couple winters of back-breaking work. So yeah, just plan for the long game. This is a long game thing for me. This is the garden that I'm going to be setting up to grow in for a long time, and it will change over time, I'm certain of it, but it's a good start, and I'm really grateful to have all the resources here that we do to be able to build something that can grow in the first year, but that can also become more of a thriving environment in years to come. Another thing to note is that I'm balancing building this garden out with keeping some pots intact because I've already planted in them. So some of these pots already, like the ones that were in good shape, I kept garlic going in them, and then in a couple pots in the front I have like winter veggies growing too. So this isn't gonna happen all this year, but I'm gonna be able to get a lot of stuff in the ground for summer, and it gives me time to balance the build out of the soil with managing the resources that we also have to think about, like water. So I have a 250 gallon IBC, but the size of this garden isn't going to be able to survive off of just that, and I would still be turning the well on every day. So I need to think about expanding the IBC totes to like 2 or 3 at least. I'm really excited because this thing is really coming together, and I can start to see the vision more clearly about how this garden is gonna look in the spring and summer. It's gonna be beautiful. And I said that I would do 2 pots a day, and today I am doing 1 pot because my shoulder hurts so bad. And I don't think that I could honestly tell somebody else if they were in my shoes to push through this pain, because this is from an injury that just kind of flares up every once in a while. So today is 1 pot day instead of 2 pot day, but even 1 pot is gonna get us a lot closer than we were before. And I'm okay with choosing to take care of myself and make this take a little longer, so 1 pot. And 20 years from now, when my body feels old and achy, it might feel less old and achy because I chose to take a break and allow my body to try and heal itself a little better before I went off and just made things worse. I'd rather be a silver fox with a capable body than a 50-year-old that can't move. We also have like 20 or 30 of these. They're like 6 foot tall, maybe 7 foot tall wire cages that the previous owner used to put around each individual pot. What I think I'm actually going to do with these is attach them to the frame of the greenhouse, like right here, and then like unroll them and basically make like a enclosed garden cage, because the deer pressure is very real out here. So never mind like rabbits, birds, squirrels, all that good stuff. And so it would be nice to have a use for these things because they're kind of just cluttering up the space right now. And I think that will be the best way to keep out the critters and use up what I want to use up on the property. So. Just like building soil is a long game, building a homestead is a long game. So I'm offering an update. I really haven't had too much progress outside of what you've seen, but progress is progress, and I've gotten a little dent in the smart pots that used to be a lot taller than this, so we've used some of those up, which is really exciting. The weather is making it so that we are going to have to pace ourselves a little more. I'm not afraid of working in the rain, but generally speaking, when the weather comes, we have to prioritize different aspects of our off-grid living. So right now, the pots are pretty full. I've gotten 4 or 5 done, and I'm looking forward to continuing the process as we step further into the season and get ready for the summer season, which really starts getting going in like February when we start seeds, which means I have to spend January getting pots ready and getting a seed starting station ready for having a successful garden in the 2025 season, which is going to be a super priority for me. So we will update you as time goes on to the progress of the pots and the garden itself, and I wish you all just the most merry of holidays. This time is a time of reflection for all who exist on this planet, no matter what you celebrate, and I hope in your reflections you find that you were able to experience joy this year. And I hope that you get to plan for joy next year too. Happy New Year if we don't see you before then, and it's gonna be a good one. Let's do it.